So good afternoon everybody. Myself Acharya Vishvendra, and this is my third video on the process of backend operations of learning. Till now I discussed the process of knowing and believing, and knowing means developing new neural pathways, and developing those pathways requires certain skills, which is about facing the emotional conflicts. So let me talk to you about that in a more scientific and structured way. For that, just take example of two students. One is a student A and another is a student B. And let us say they both are being taught by a teacher T. So that teaching is basically about transferring certain process. It's a transferring process and information. And that transfer of information requires new neural pathways. For example, when suppose this teacher is teaching the student, so there is something going on inside the brain of the student, and this something is a neural pathway. And that neural pathway is the fundamental difference between the two students. Developing that neural pathway involves brain and the mind, and obviously the emotions. So to explain in a nutshell, there are three mutually exclusive dimensions involved over here. These dimensions are that of information, process and energy. And this triad is responsible for developing the neural pathway. And those neural pathways like this, suppose this is the brain of a student. So learning something means using different parts of the brain in a certain way, which I refer to as the neural pathway. And these neural pathway are responsible behind different performance of students. Basically, we have two students, one is topper from above and another is topper from below. Teacher is same for both the students, both are being taught by the same teacher T. But instead, in spite of this, they have different results because they are unable to utilize the teacher in an efficient way. And there is a difference of neural patterns of the students. The student who is a topper from the above, he know how to utilize the teacher so as to gain the neural patterns from him. So such students are always self-motivated with very positive vibes, and they just require somebody who can train them on the process. They can well manage their emotional conflicts on their own. They just need the right process to guide them for developing the neural patterns. Whereas a student which is topper from the bottom has emotional concerns. And first emotional concern is unstable thoughts. He has fickle or unstable thoughts. He's thinking about this thing or that thing, which explains why he's not able to learn. anything and is internally trapped in some sort of maya or illusions which just stops him from learning. So if I see myself as a teacher and I see what is my role for a student, then I think the topper student does not need a teacher much because he has a well-developed neural patterns. So it doesn't matter who teach him. If the teacher is professional and know how to do his work, then any teacher will be able to help that student. Whereas a student from the bottom has not developed the neural patterns necessary for learning, so he just need a professional, you can say that, look after or a professional approach to check his learning. And I think the real task of the teacher is to develop the neural patterns in a below average student, because nature is the real teacher. The basic source of any learning is the observation of nature itself. But there are certain people who have become expert in observing the nature, so that they have access to the quantum frequencies at which learning occurs, the changed emotional or neural patterns for learning, the use of different lobes of the brain, the use of different parts of the brain, and they have learned how to form an optimized pattern of effective learning. So that pattern of effective learning is the real challenge. And if you are able to develop those optimal patterns of learning, then anybody can learn anything. It is the thoughts or the emotions which hinders your capability to observe freely. There are certain, you can say that, metrics of the mind-brain system, or the thoughts or the emotions which try to trap you in an already existing system of thoughts or system of information processing. And it tries to trap you within a matrix in which you are bound to react or bound to talk to somebody which is giving you the thoughts. You just try to convince somebody. There is something which is scolding you from inside and is pressurizing you to do certain things. And you are just roaming around here and there to be a slave of that particular gesture inside you. But the moment you become aware of the fact that life is just a purpose to get absolute freedom, a freedom from everything, every emotion, every relation, every information, every process, every knowledge, every belief system. There is something inside you which is seeking for absolute freedom, which is called the nirvana. And you will not be satisfied till you are free of everything. But there is a process of that, there are quantum levels involved. Just keep on progressing and one day you will be free of everything and achieve nirvana. Thank you and have a nice day.